Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. And as you may have noticed, this is also going to be the first video in which I attempt to add commentary or narration. And for today's flight, as you see, we have the S92 version and the XP11 version, and we're going to do a flight to Bolzano, which is LIPB, and we're starting from, I believe it's Misserina, which is HELM, and both of these locations are contained within the Dolomiti scenery pack from FSC, which, as you may have read in the descriptions of some of my previous videos, is easily the best scenery package that I have seen to date. Now, the price is a little steep if you compare it to others. It costs, approximately $80 or 60-something euros, and the download total is actually around 15 gigabytes. But for that money, you get a gigantic area that is completely custom and has some of the best resolution and the best graphics I've seen, and also it's really not that much of a drain on your FPS. So as long as you don't go too crazy with your your graphics settings, you should be able to run this package easily, the same way as you will with any other custom scenery package. So generally speaking, it's not going to require any sort of Cray level computer just to get the thing to run. So as I said, we're going to be using the S92, and the plan is to fly to Bolzano, or LIPB, which is about 40 nautical miles away from this location. And we're going to try not to crash the helicopter, but if I do, I promise that I will try to do it in the most spectacular fashion as possible. And if you actually have this model and you ever want to know how you can actually reduce the engine speed down to an idle, things like that, without actually shutting it down, the way I do that is it's pretty simple. You can actually just disengage the governor, throttle all the way down to the very end of the gate, and that will give you generally an idle. And if you want to, once your rotor RPM drops to about 35% or lower, you can engage the rotor brake and actually bring that speed down much lower. But when you do get ready to take off and you increase the throttle, I don't recommend that you just immediately kick the governor in, because if you do, the engine is immediately going to sweep all the way to its takeoff RPM. And a lot of times that will actually spin the helicopter on its axis. So what I like to do is just slowly increase the throttle until the needle gets just behind the green zone in the rotor RPM. And it's at that point then you can actually engage the governor, and it will take over and do its job and maintain the RPM that's required by the inputs. So, and also note that this location that we're at is an elevation of a little over 5,700 feet. So in a helicopter, even a helicopter with this kind of power, you still want to make sure that your weight and your power is within those limits and don't overdo it. And if I can see, I believe that we need to head east to get to this location. And just as a matter of safety, whenever operating at an elevation this high, or especially in a location that could be hostile, I always recommend that you do not pull the gear up until you reach transitional speed. And also, this is a pretty windy day, so we'll probably should have turned that down, but I guess it'll keep things interesting. So yeah, the lateral movement you see, that's actually the wind. That's actually not control inputs. And for the most part, whether it just be turbulence, wind gust, whatever, usually, unless it's sustained, and you actually have a wind that's actually pushing you into a drift, really there's nothing you can do about it. So, these very small movements, there's no point really in even trying to correct that. The main thing is just to try to maintain your heading. Don't smash into the side of a mountain. But as far as trying to avoid every little movement, it's just going to drive you crazy. There's no point in it. So just maintain a safe heading and get used to the little stutter back and forth. You're not going to eliminate that. According to the weather report, that's only, if I can find here, yeah, this is only an 8-knot wind with about a 15 mile per hour gust, or 15 knots, sorry, not mile per hour. the S92, it's not my favorite helicopter, but I would say it's certainly in the top 5. In my opinion, it's a little too large to be really versatile, so its size is going to limit it to what you can actually use it for. But as far as just purely the model itself goes, you know, it's pretty good, well put together. And the real world model, it's essentially a UH-60 that's been stretched. So that's pretty much what you have here. Is Sikorsky, you know, more or less took the base model of the UH-60 or the S70 for the civilian market and extended that so that you gain, you know, quite a bit of interior space for cargo, passengers, whatnot. And I don't know for sure, but I do believe that the Coast Guard either has this or plans to use this. I don't believe that the uniformed services are actually going to use this, at least not the American. But that could change. So. Now with the Coast Guard, I believe that the intention is that this helicopter is supposed to replace the H3, the Sea King. You know, which, I mean, I understand if something is getting that old, but you know, I would probably, you know, much rather have the H3, especially because of the fact that the Coast Guard does operations in the open sea, and this helicopter is not certified as being truly amphibious, so you can't land this in the water, which, if you think about it, is kind of retarded. That, you know, you're basically trading a helicopter that's perfectly capable of operating in the open ocean and saying, well, you know, we would rather have one that sinks. But it is the government, so don't expect anything to make sense. Have specific questions about this or any of the videos that I make, or about any of the particular helicopters, scenery packages, whatnot, you can ask those questions. You can either use the comment section or you can email those directly to me, and I will try to respond as quickly as possible. If you want just a general resource of information, you can always try the helisimmer.com website, which is a really good resource for general information basically across the board, so not just X-plane, pretty much anything that has to do with a helicopter and simulation, you're going to find it on there. Trying to get above the wind here. if the quality is not that well with this recording, I do apologize for that, but this is a new piece of equipment, so this is really the first time I'm actually trying to use it. So I'll try to adjust it as we go along in more videos, and if that can't be done, then I will try to find another solution. So as you can see, it's pretty clear why I'm such a huge fan of this scenery package. So far I have about 40 hours, 45 hours actually flying in this area, and I still haven't covered but maybe 10% of what's actually included. So I would almost say that you could buy only this package and it would probably be quite a long time before you ran out of places to fly. May run into some AI aircraft here any minute now, because I have it set up with about 8 actually running, but it's hard to tell with X-planes. Sometimes the other aircraft will avoid you, and sometimes they'll go completely kamikaze and fly right into your paths. I have 2 on radar, but I'm not sure what their altitude is. I can't actually see them. So. Either they're flying well above us, or they already darted out into one of these mountains somewhere. It's just a stationary target, basically. With X-plane, neither one of those would surprise me. See our destination ahead there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and start my descent, which means we'll have to fly back through that wind layer. modify this a bit. Way too high. So we'll just go out here a little distance and turn around and come back. That way we have a better approach. Definitely still have that wind. That's okay, we can put the nose into the wind and be just fine here. There we go. So I do appreciate everyone watching, and like I said, this is the very first time to try the narration, so hopefully the quality will be good, and if not, I'll try to improve that. And also, as time goes on, I'm sure that as I get used to doing this, you know, I may be able to have a little better luck and not just ramble on. But then again, it is kind of, you know, hard to multitask, fly a helicopter and talk at the same time. Either way, thanks for watching. If you have questions, feel free to leave those in the comment section, suggestions. And like I say, anyone who has a particular idea for a flight, you want to know how something works, you know, any of those things, if you put that in the comments or you send me an email, I usually will try to get to those as fast as I can. So until then, thanks for watching. See you next time.